I got it coming out of both ends. If I had a third end, it would have been.
So you legit got food poisoning.
Oh, I was.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back, episode 2 of the Goon Platoon. Just letting you know that we are brought to you by First Detachment supplements. If you liked our old sleep formula, which was called Hit the Rack, you are going to like our new one. We've added 500 milligrams of L-theanine for additional help in sleep health and sleep benefits. Can't even talk right now. But yeah, so research has shown that it's going to facilitate more rapid and effortless transition into sleep. So guys, check that out. Remember, we are the #1 supplement brand for athletes and competitors. Make sure to go online, check out all of our new products dropping. And if you subscribe to our VIP list, you'll automatically receive 15% off your first order. So make sure you guys go and check that out today. I am with you once again with this time not Justin Sider. We are with Justin Harris.
Yep. Went back
so episode 2, we're gonna start off with a few questions.
I wanted to come. I hit the rack. Also, I wanted to mention that the new formula is only 4 ounces. You only need to mix with 4 ounces of water. The previous was with 8. We've the volume of the powder has been reduced in half. We reformulated the way we sweetened it and flavored it, and so it's half the amount needed now, which was going back to our peeing the bed issue from the last episode.
That's why you were peeing the bed.
Yeah, now it's much less of a concern. And let's not forget to our second sponsor this evening, Dr. Cold Hands and Dr. Justin Sider's OBGYN. You can see them at 69 Just the Tip Avenue in Climax, Michigan, right off of I-69 on the Big Beaver exit, right next to Mound Road.
Michigan's that place is getting a little crazy, man.
That's if you're my Michigan people know that 99%, the number of the address was not a real thing.
All right, so the first question we have, this is going to be a drug one. What drug should you take in the off season / prep, and at what point do you take them?
Well, we kind of covered it last time about with the optimal year for growth, but for off season, you just want to do 2 injectables. Keep it simple. You can do anything, but what I've found to be really the most effective, and I think I've got a pretty high success rate with people rapidly growing year after year. But in the off season, you want to use Test as your base, and then one other injectable. I prefer Primobolan, and the reason to stick to only injectables is because orals tend to kill appetite. They're harder on the liver. They tend to raise blood pressure if they're ones that cause water retention. So the injectables allow you to basically take the doses higher than any other method without running into health problems. You can run longer cycles, healthier cycles, and then you don't have the issues with lower appetite or lethargy or test flu. I mean, I guess you could get that with the test, and then pre-contest, it's totally different. Part of the reason we do it that way in the off season is so that we can throw the kitchen sink at things in prep. Prep is prep. You got to get ready for a show. So we push things harder there. We'll add orals because in some parts you want the lack of appetite. And we'll add the harsher things like my actual favorite prep compound is Masteron. But Tren is probably second, and
everyone loves Tren now.
Yeah. I mean, you really can't avoid it.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's it. Prep's harder because there's 1,000 different prep cycles. But in the off season, pick a test dose, run Primobolan or EQ or DECA or MPP or whatever your favorite anabolic injectable is at about 75 to 80% of the test dose, and that's it. And then just you can build your doses up over time, but eventually you'll kind of peak out at there's a range, and I hate to give dose ranges, so I guess I won't, but there's a point where you start losing your appetite, you get test flu, you feel lethargic, and if you can't eat, you don't feel like training, and you feel like you have the flu, you're not going to grow. So you have to stay under that dose, and that's the reason people aren't running 10 grams. That's it's a funny thing because people always think the pros are running 10 grams. It's like, I'm sure many have tried. The reason you don't is because you feel like you're dying. And then, of course, add GH and insulin on it, and you're all set.
Yeah. And going into when you say lose appetite, if people have experienced it, then they know what we're talking about. But if you haven't, it definitely does affect you big time, because the number one thing we want to do is eat, no matter at what point we're at. So what is something you do? I mean, I sort of, I'll be honest, I'm one of those guys that does like the bland food. I just cook my chicken, I throw it on the grill, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Mustard, maybe some soy sauce, things like that. Some people want to know, like, how would you, like, what do you add? I know Joe Seaman up north adds a bunch of
Maple
herbs and
syrup
spices
and Tim Hortons and.
Mhm. Have you
I'm
ever did you do that in prep, or when you competed? Was that
You
something
did
you
what,
did?
spices and stuff? No,
Yeah.
that's what I even just made a comment. I made a joke to my wife just the other day. I was like, man, you think after like 25 years of this, I would have figured out some
How to
good,
make it taste better?
yeah. Because I mean, some of my clients have like all these, these amazing concoctions and these
Yeah, they tag you in it. It
and
looks good.
yeah, and and it looks like it would taste good. They say it tastes good. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know anything about cooking or flavoring or seasoning. I know I like salt. Salt tends to taste good.
Yeah.
I like some heat, some red pepper, but
Mhm.
I'm unbelievably boring. If I do anything, I'll do something like, sometimes I'll add like broth
Mhm.
to my meat and rice, because it makes it like more watery. It's almost, anything that's dry when you don't have a big appetite, it's hard to get down. But if it's kind of more moist, did you know that's the that what's the word term for it? The most strongest negative reaction word in the English
Oh,
language.
moist.
Moist. Yeah.
Yeah, I have no problem with that one. But dude, did you ever do like, like get like bell peppers and cut them up and try to? So I did that, I think, before the Arnold prep, and I was like, oh, get some little veggies in, a few carbs here, whatever. And I cooked them in a pan, and they get soft and whatnot. So I ate them for about 3 days straight. I could not get off the toilet. I mean, it was just running through me. So I was like, yeah, it's not gonna work.
Well, keep it bland then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, but that, sometimes you do have those issues and you do have to hit the bathroom. Have you ever been in a place where like traveling, where you're like, dude, like an embarrassing story, or like, yo, I got a freak?
Oh, embarrassing story. Yeah. When we just did that seminar in Texas with Team Troponin, and then
A couple months ago.
yeah, and Steve Kuklo. Yeah. And I have food poisoning. We went to IHOP. I think it was IHOP. I don't want to bash the wrong place, but I'm pretty sure it was IHOP. Those fuckers. Oh crap! Are we within the 7-minute F word rule? No one will listen. No one's listening. Yeah. Anyways, go to IHOP, and the morning of the seminar, I got it coming out of both ends. If I had a third end, it would have been.
So you legit got food poisoning?
Oh, I was hurting. Yeah, I mean, I was like puking into the shower while
my god,
shitting into the toilet, and I'm like, the whole, it's going on all morning, and I don't remember what time our summer started, 10 or 11, or this started at like 5 a.m. and so all morning I'm like, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. And then it finally like calmed down, like just in time to basically, I missed all the setup, like getting the banners and everything set up. I missed all that. I got there and I'm talking and get, I don't know, 20 minutes into the seminar, and I am mid-word when, when you get the BGs.
Oh yeah.
The bubble guts,
and you're just like, oh, I gotta go now.
And there's that little lump. It's like, is there? Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. That there's like a pressure in my throat. It's getting stronger, and then I realize like I got to get out of there. But I'm all mic'd up, So I'm trying to be calm about it, but I'm like pulling my mic out, and I'm like, doing that speed walk where you like the Olympic speed walkers, like get out of there. Everyone probably like confused what's going on. Greg McCoy, who owns the gym, kind of pointed me to where the bathroom was. And I got there and I got about 2 steps from the bathroom door.
Projectile.
It was, yeah. And luckily I got the door open, but then I painted the bathroom basically. I mean, it ended up being, kind of like an eclectic, new wavy look. So I don't know if he kept it or not, but.
Dude, did you tell him? Like, were you like,
oh, dude, the whole place knew. Yeah. Dude, I don't
like, yo, Justin must be really nervous.
How do you puke? My wife throws up. She's like, I'm like a dinosaur. it's so loud the whole gym knew. I
Well,
mean,
do you
but
know
how
when
like you
you
can't
get you get the dad
dad.
sneeze,
Oh, I'm a
where
dad
it's like
sneezer.
you're a kid and you listen to your dad sneeze and it's the loudest thing ever, and then when you become a certain age, you're like, oh my god, I'm doing it too.
Oh yeah, it's insane how it happens. It's like I
Yeah,
think it's probably an evolutionary trait to
it
let
has to
everyone
be.
know. No,
Yeah.
it's probably not.
Yeah, I will say the only embarrassing travel story I have, not I wouldn't say embarrassing, I would say just was terrible experience, was last year when I was doing the GNC photo shoot up in Pittsburgh, and you and I had planned like, all right, we'll lean out a little bit for it, whatever. So we went into it
Dumbest
thinking
idea ever. Lean out because we thought it was going to be it.
we thought it was gonna be fake weights, and so we get there, and so I had taken a really I didn't have to worry about spilling anything, so I'm like, let me put a little bit of water from travel. So I took a small diuretic. I had leaned out, and we had like not even done a ton of carbs and stuff, and so I get there, and I'm walking around. They got the lighting and the wardrobe people and everything, and they're getting me fitted, and I walk around and I see the dumbbells in this giant crate. And I went over, I'm like, oh, dude, this will be cool to see what these things look like. And I lifted it up and I'm like, yo, that's a 150-pound dumbbell. And so I text you right away. I'm like, yo, these are real dumbbells. And so I had to work out for 12 hours. I think we did 2 hours of benching with 150-pound dumbbells, 2 hours of benching 315, 2 hours of squatting, 2 hours of deadlifting 500. And people would say, oh, that's not that much weight. Okay, we'll do that like for 12 hours. And then that
No,
night,
people don't say that's not that much weight. You forget
well,
that you're a all-time world record holding powerlifter. Most people 500-pound squats are a decent amount of weight.
well, it
Not
was
warm up.
so the whole time I'm dehydrated. I feel like garbage, doing my best. And then, by the next day, I'm still messed up. Apparently that hotel
No
was like,
kidding.
they don't have microwaves in hotels now. And
Yeah, got
so,
nothing anymore.
yeah. So like
You
I
don't
didn't
have a
have a bunch of,
fridge usually.
it was a terrible experience. And then so I'm running, our flight was delayed. So I'm running through the airport and I was texting. I'm like, dude, something feels off. Like I'm burning up. I feel dizzy. Like something feels bad. And it was like we were pretty much going through a little bit of rhabdo.
A little
And
bit.
yeah,
You would probably pee in black chunks. I'm pretty
yeah,
sure
it
you were
was
full-blown rhabdo. I
that
mean,
was
not a little bit. You did
that was
a
pretty
12-hour
rough.
workout.
Dude, I was dizzy, and then I got on the plane and I was really dizzy, and I was like, "Oh, this isn't good," but I can't say anything. They'll take me off the plane. So luckily we made it, but that was probably the
Yeah,
crappiest time traveling.
that's rough. Yeah, and then they lost all the footage.
Yeah, well, they post
I'm
it
kidding.
sometimes. And I'm like,
I'm
I did
kidding.
not have a good day that day. But do you think this is a question? This is a user submitted question. Do you think natural bodybuilding is more culturally accepted versus enhanced? And I'll say my part. I don't think so, because I don't think many people assume bodybuilding is bodybuilding, right? Bodybuilding started out, it could have been a little natural, but it's, for the most part, since it's been mainstream, it has been 100% trying to be the biggest you can, the freakiest you can, the leanest you can. And so I don't think people even really hear about natural bodybuilding. They have small federations throughout the United States, but I mean, let's keep it honest. I don't think people really know. And then most of the time, if guys who are in the limelight, they're on some sort of something, to get a physique that looks enhanced.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like if you asked someone from culture, do you think is bodybuilding with steroids better or bodybuilding without steroids? They'd say without steroids. But
Yeah.
people don't know. People don't know anything about anything. They think I won't say names. They think celebrities that are jacked are natural. They think like I think if you ask the average person completely out of the fitness culture, like what are steroids? And in their mind, they're picturing a white pill that says steroid on it or something,
Yeah,
like,
or injected into your vein.
Yeah. They I mean, they even they used to have ads with that, with like someone like the heroin.
Don't do steroids.
Don't do not even once.
Not even once. It'll make the frogs gay. See if we can do an Alex Jones reference at least one episode, every episode. Dude, what type of shoes are you training in now compared to when you were training more heavy duty?
My favorite shoes ever were Chuck the Chuck Taylor, the Converse Chuck Taylors in 2000. They came out with the Chuck Taylor 2000, and it was it looked more like a modern shoe, and they made only for a very short period of time. But it was like a kind of a wide, flat sole, but it wasn't completely flat. The heel was slightly elevated, but it was like that harder sole, like a Chuck Taylor. And I wore those. I squatted in those until, I don't know, at least 2008. I mean, for 8 years or something. I think Ed Cohen actually still squats in his same shoes from like 83.
The Adidas, the white Adidas.
Yeah. I don't know how they stay together. I don't know what ended up happening to mine. I think maybe my feet grew. I don't know how. Mad.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but I think my feet grew due to who knows what. Probably something I drank.
Pregnancies.
Yeah. That's I say all the time whenever I we're doing something like walking around or something, and if there's a reference to make a reference like I'm going to pee my pants, I'll always say, chill out. Don't give me crap. I've had 4 kids, you know.
I'm sure she loves that.
Oh yeah, I was like, that way.
See,
I'm the one who had the kids.
Did you ever use wrestling shoes? Because I was mostly shoes.
Sorry, yeah, I wore that. I switched to wrestling shoes after those, and I wore those all the way until recently. Where now, because I just kind of train like a.
Well, you don't need your like that feet activation. You know, sometimes when you get more of that feet activation, hamstrings and glutes fire a little better. But you might.
Yeah, I've never been into feet. No, not a big.
Some people are.
Activator.
Some people.
Oh yeah.
So, if you place, this is another user submitted question, guys. So if they feel like we're bouncing around, sometimes I'm just reading the questions. So if you place top of your class and win a show, I'm assuming a local show or regional show, why does anyone in the community view it as not impressive if you only beat a smaller class competitors? So I guess they're saying if the show is smaller, is it not as impressive if you only beat a few guys? Well, you can only beat who shows up that day, right? So if no one shows up,
that's people worry about too much. People worry about what other people think so much. It's so weird to me. I don't like who even cares. All that mattered was how you looked. I mean, when I competed, that's what mattered. Yeah, you want to win, you know, but at least for me, I would have rather looked, you know, had my best look ever and not win than look like garbage and win. You know, I mean, it just like you always want to win, but you want to win because you looked your best. And if you looked your best, that was the win for me. You know, like that's the whole process of the sport. But I don't know why people. I mean, like if Phil Heath or like if Ronnie Coleman coming up the ranks won the heavyweight class and there was only 2 competitors in his class.
Oh, well, it wasn't legit win.
You know, I mean, it's like
wasn't legit.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And then, I mean, there are some shows like the Atlantic States or the Cal used to be bigger, but the Cal's still pretty big. You know that are tough shows to win. But I mean, if you win your state championship, like you know, Mr. Michigan, I mean, they don't have that because that was an AAU, but that's cool as hell. And you know that people would like care whether someone else thought there was. It wasn't good enough is weird. Who cares? Do it for yourself.
Yeah, that's so. Now this is me asking you because you're my bud. Let me ask you: Do you still watch basketball? I know you watch football religiously.
I don't really anymore.
Have you watched any of the NBA finals?
No, and it's so weird because I know you sent the questions. I didn't read them because I don't like to study or prepare. I mean, I read them, but I don't like to prepare too much with things like this because I'm always worried about. Have you ever like been mad at Nisa or you're mad at your wife and you're in the shower and you're having like a mental argument with her and you're working through the argument? Oh yeah, you nail it. You smoke her. You know, you mop the floor with her. After you get out, you don't want to have the real argument. You already had it, and you were way better than it's going to be in the. So that's what I always feel like when preparing questions. That's why I don't like to do like when I do.
Okay. Well, in that case, let me update you because the Lakers knocked off the Warriors last night.
The Milwaukee Lakers.
Do you think this is the end of the Warriors, Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond dynasty?
How old is Steph now?
Oh God, he's almost mid-30s, I believe. Like probably like 34, 35.
I thought he was like 36, but I mean, I don't
Okay,
know.
well, then, yeah, mid 30s.
Yeah, I mean that's about the age. I mean, because it's a pure athletic
Young
sport,
man's
like
game.
I mean, it's not like, baseball, like you can pitch into your 40s, you can hit, you can play, certain football positions, you can play quarterback. I mean, Tom Brady, but you're not. Basketball is absolute athleticism, and there's only a certain age range where you're absolutely athletic. And yeah, I mean, we'll see, but I wouldn't. It's certainly on the tail end, on the far tail end. If
they're gonna do some rebuilding at some point. But athletes in basketball, athletes in football. Have you ever seen an athlete that you'd be like, "Yo, that dude"?
I have not. No, I've never seen an athlete. Not in
person. Would you see an athlete? Let me finish, damn. Okay. Would you see an athlete that you're like, "Yo, this dude would crush in bodybuilding or strongman or something else"? I've seen a few.
Oh yeah. I think. Well, I would think probably 90% of NFL running backs and cornerbacks could be bodybuilders.
Yeah,
I would imagine 75 or to 90% of offensive linemen and probably defensive linemen too could be strongman competitors. I mean, because that's what football is now. It's like either you were born. If you were born to be a bodybuilder, you're probably like a running back or cornerback. If you were like born just like inhumanly fast, you're a wide receiver or a maybe safety or cornerback. And if you're like born on mountain of a human, you're an offensive lineman. But yeah, certainly. But I mean, I would think bodybuilding would be, if every other sport just ceased to exist, the bodybuilding world would shake up dramatically, because all those NFL running backs, if that was the only sport around. I mean, Dexter Jackson was all state. He might have been like a 3, 4 or even higher star recruit coming out of Jacksonville High School. He was like a very, very, very good running back. And that's
Sean Ray was a good running back.
Another one. Yeah.
Chris Cormier was, I believe Chris
wrestler.
He was a high level wrestler
in California, which is legit wrestling.
I don't remember the high school Chris, so don't hate me, but I know he was inducted into their Hall of Fame for wrestling and stuff. So yeah, that was that's big time. So I know there's got to be some guys like Bo Jackson.
Well, I mean, oh god, yeah, Bo Jackson. Can you imagine? Well, if you think about it, a lot of bodybuilders, how they became bodybuilders was because
from injury.
Yeah, from their real sport career or like their planned sport career. So yeah.
Even like
Barry Sanders,
Marcus Rule and stuff like that. They were like originally soccer players, and then they got injured, and then they got big and they liked it, and so you're like, man, forget soccer. I ain't gonna do that.
Yeah, but Bo Jackson would have been a fun one, because you can only, or Herschel Walker, another one. I can only imagine what he seems like he probably could have been like a Ronnie Coleman even. Yeah,
dude, it's so switching topics again back to supplements really quick. I was thinking the other day, I was going through my cabinet and cleaning out old supplements I had that when you buy supplements and they're in, sometimes you use them or you buy a new one and they just sit there for years. Sometimes you got to clean it out and you get like the moon rocks and stuff in there. But I found like 4 different creatine tubs. And so I thought about it. I'm like, yo, remember when creatine was more first coming out and they were like, you have to front load it for like a week, and everyone was about it. Everyone was going crazy with it, front loading.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is because there's very few like novel new compounds that come out that work and really, really work. And creatine was one of them. The problem is it's just one chemical. And so like business owners want to make money. So they got to like start spicing it up. So then they, like
got to front load.
Yeah. Front load or add a bunch of sugar with it but I mean, for anyone listening, cause I don't know, like our education range, we might have some young guys who don't know the whole creatine story, but the creatine phosphate is the initial energy source for activity. Creatine phosphate for a very, very short duration, which then turns to glycolysis. So a lot of what your training energy comes from the creatine phosphate pathway. And so creatine phosphate doesn't really work if you take it. You need to take generally creatine and monohydrate. But if you take that, what happens is it goes in your body and it gets stored until it gets used. and it doesn't go away. There's no benefit to taking it before the workout. It's not like it doesn't stimulate you for the workout. It doesn't matter if you take it after the workout. And then once your creatine phosphate stores are kind of like saturated, kind of like glycogen saturated, they just stay there. And it takes about 5 grams a day to get that. So if you front load, really all you're doing is maybe saturating your creatine phosphate stores like a day earlier. And then oh God, I remember a roommate in college. I hope his girlfriend broke up. He didn't work out. He wasn't into working out. He was actually freshman year. He used to he was an old country boy. He used to get a case of Busch Light and a tub of peanut butter, and we'd play video games, and he would just eat peanut butter and drink Busch Light all night. And he's old school country boy. But then his girlfriend broke up with him, and he went, like what's that, lawyer Jim? There's some saying like what to do when your girl or your wife breaks up with you. Well, he went full bore, but he didn't know. I didn't know anything about nutrition or bodybuilding really then. We're 18 years old. Yeah. He didn't really know anything about it, and so he decided like to just not eat, and take a ton of creatine. This dude would take like 25 grams of creatine every day.
Holy crap!
And all he would eat was plain lettuce. The smells that would come out of this guy torture me to this day. It only lasted so long because obviously you can't live on lettuce forever. Eventually he started eating real food but holy shit, that combination of creatine and lettuce.
You think it was just his kidneys just being like, "Yo, we're giving up"?
I think everything gave up. I know his ass gave up because actually, and it didn't. It was in its prime because there was a couple of times where, because it's college, in a dorm, it was just 2 people to a room at the college I went to, but people would always kind of hang out, and I had a corner dorm, which is bigger. And so it tended to be an area where people would hang out. There was one time we had a bunch of people just hanging out, and he ripped one, silent one, no one knew. And then suddenly it was like a thickness came over the room.
Oh God.
And it burned into you. And
we had to leave.
We had to leave. And then we couldn't even, we wanted to go back in to open the windows, but no one could even get inside the door. I don't know how this happened. It was like the single worst smell in human history. And it was 28 years ago, and I still remember it. Yeah, Nick Bierman was in there. Crazy. I don't remember Crazy's real name, but he was in there. Matt Smith.
Name drop guys.
I remember the guys that were in. That's like, it's almost 30 years ago, and
That's funny.
That's how bad it was.
Oh man. Well, I'm gonna do one more submitted question. This one's a little random, but if there's any, so I think I know where this is gonna go with you, but let the audience know if there's a place you could go travel or live, where would it be? I already know.
Do you? Bucerias, Mexico?
Mexico.
Yeah. Where my wife and I we're planning to buy a home down there. The Bucerias area is like the west coast. It's by oh my God, I think she's gonna, my family, if they listen to this, I can't say Puerto Vallarta. I can't say that word. I think I said it okay. I don't understand why. But it's it's like 20-30 minutes away from there. And it's the Nayarit areas. It's kind of like it's a whole area. Bucerias now is getting kind of bigger, but we go there 3 or 4 times a year, and we would definitely like to buy a place there, because Mexico's got an interesting thing that there's and hopefully if I'm wrong on this, because I've read this online, and maybe one of the viewers will correct me, but if you buy a home over a certain price and pay cash for it, you get permanent residency. You don't have to do the citizenship thing. You don't have to do visa. You can basically just stay there forever. And so that's what we'd hope to do. We're hoping to do it soon, actually. I mean, because I don't have any, I can work from anywhere, I work in front of a computer, I have to, and then, I have to like do seminars and things like that for the supplement company, but I have to travel for that. It's not like all these seminars are in Michigan anyways. I fly out for 99% of those anyways. So.
Yeah. And going back to something else, Sarah, I knew you were going to Mexico, damn it. You boys ever been to Mexico? But going back, there's a topic that people are talking about now in the bodybuilding community, not so much with women, but more with guys. And they talk about, obviously, the enhanced side of things, but they're saying that, certain injection spots, when you hit them, start to atrophy muscle. And one of the big ones that came up I think this past year was almost lower lat. And that guys who were injecting more into this lat area they were developing almost like a nerve block, like a in the back would atrophy. And you saw, I think they talked about Big Ramy.
Ramy's got Dennis. Was it Dennis Wolf? Jeez, why he had
there's honestly, when you go back,
quite
there was
a few,
probably 6 or 7 guys that had big names that had it over the years, because at the beginning of their career, full lats sweeping down, and then towards the end of the career, it was just sort of the upper rhomboids, upper lat, and the lower lat was almost just gone.
Yeah, and so there's kind of two things that happen. If you look at and you can notice it on Jay Cutler, his side delts are really kind of flat now, because two things happen. One, every single time a needle enters through the skin, it creates scar tissue. A tiny amount because it's a sharp needle, but there, like if you stabbed yourself with a knife and it healed, obviously there would be a scar there, and so that happens every time to a very, very small amount. Well, if you do, hundreds or even thousands of injections over, a 20-year career in your side delts or anywhere, that tissue starts becoming more and more, a higher percentage of scar tissue comparative to muscle tissue. And then, but when you're training and injecting, then injecting keeps the fullness there, and the training keeps the fullness there, and injecting actually kind of enhances the fullness, because it's almost like spot injecting. But when you stop doing that, and all that fullness from the injection swelling and injection inflammation leaves, which takes months or maybe even a year or more, is gone, then you're just left with a tissue that's mostly scar tissue. Now the lats are a little different, because that is a nerve thing. There's a nerve that runs there, and I know I can think of several, maybe even as much as 10, and it's not like I talked to that many, but people who've had a problem where they inject their lats, and 99% of the time it's super smooth, easy, doesn't hurt, and then all of a sudden one time it's like it hits a nerve, and it's the most crippling pain they've ever had, and that whole side of their body turns red. And I think that's what happens, and I think that nerve gets damaged, and so that the nerve goes and it innervates the muscle. Where's my hands? It spreads out, through the muscle tissue, and that if you hit that main one, that spreads out through the lower lat area, and that kind of gets you hit that and it dies. That innervation is no longer there, and that muscle dies off. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I mean, I'm pretty confident that's what's happening, and confident enough to say that, because I have that exact situation with my left lat.
So you did inject back in the day in your left lat?
Yeah. And I remember we were living at the house in Clinton Township, and I remember the pain was it was unique.
Oh, you hit it?
Yeah. It wasn't,
the oil pushed against the nerve?
Yeah. And it was and it started burning, and it's and then it got to a point where it's like, oh my God, this is really bad. Oh my God. And then I stop, pull the needle out. I'm not even done. But it just started, and then the pain just grows and grows and grows. And I remember
trying to massage it.
Oh no, I was like a screaming kid. I was like walking through the house really fast, or stop, leaning over the couch, hands on my knees.
Yeah, you're dude, I'm dying.
Yeah, oh yeah. And it was, gonna go back to the bathroom, look, and my whole side of my body's red, and then the back walking around again, hands on hips, rethinking my whole life, I'm done am I done with this sport? And then and it took a long time, that was that would have been probably 2000. That was before really my at the start of my competitive career, 2004-ish.
Yeah.
So it took a long time to really fully, but if I tried to compete now, I'd have a right lat and my left lat would be very high. There'd be no lower lat.
And you think
so much so that you can see my ribs even back there.
Did you inject in that lat after that?
Probably.
Okay. I was gonna say, do you think it's just from that one time?
I think that's what did it. Yeah. I mean, because otherwise, I mean, if my theory is correct, because there's two ways that the muscle is going to atrophy. There's one is going to be the muscle turns to scar tissue essentially, which is from multiple injections, or two, you do something that damages the nerves that innervate that muscle. And so that's what I think happened.
Yeah, and that that's at the end of the day, guys are going to do what they got to do to, when anyone who does compete understands that you only have so many spots to push an oil substance, and when you're in prep or you're, a lot of guys do it now where they're trying to keep their blood serum levels more even. And so they'll inject more frequently with smaller amounts. They avoid a lot of the high crests and the low valleys, the peaks and valleys.
All of the scar tissue.
Yeah. Issues. And so that's that many more shots, that many more things.
And actually Skip Hill, I think on Instagram or Facebook a couple of years ago brought it up because he kind of said the same thing in his delts, I think. And I remember he started a thread saying, I think I know what it is, but I'm curious what everyone else thinks. And then it was, like I never got on Facebook, so I never went back on to see what people said. But you can see it on a lot of retired bodybuilders. They'll have really flat side delts.
Yeah. And dude, have you seen the last one I wanted to shoot at you because I noticed this the other day. And so I was going through IG. And I'm sure I've seen it a million times before, but I actually thought about it now. And I was like, okay, I'm thinking back to commercials in the 90s and in the early 2000s and things. And I look at it now, and it seems as though social media has almost sexualized everything in the whole world, like tenfold. I mean, to the point that commercials for trimming down under, right? And to any of our Australian listeners, I'm not talking about Australia, but trimming down under, like that's a normal thing. That's like a sponsor for the Super Bowl commercial. And
Manscaper or whatever.
Manscape, yeah. And it's
back in my day, we just ripped them out. Like,
so I mean, dude, like I don't know where it goes from.
Well, one thing you said, Instagram. You know that the algorithm feeds what you're looking at. So
apparently, I mean,
there's a famous quote that every generation thinks they're the one that invented sex. I really don't know because like I saw when we had these questions earlier, I was looking at it, and then my first thought was, yeah, absolutely. But then I thought about it, it's like, man, do you remember the 80s, like the teen sex comedies? Well, I'm probably the only one old enough to remember those, but that's what every movie was like teen sex comedies, and they don't really have those anymore. I mean, now it's a different form. Now it's women just basically just purely putting their butthole in front of the camera on social media. But
OF.
Yeah. But what's that?
OnlyFans.
Oh.
Don't act like you don't have one, Justin.
I don't have an OnlyFans.
Listen, dude, when times get tough,
I was trying to think of them. I'm too slow. I was trying to think of I am on a page for sexy man hands. I don't know. Well, actually, I should probably keep them hidden.
Justin, guys, I don't know if you have never met Justin in person. The first time I met Justin was 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember I shook his hand, and it was like at the time, I think Justin, he's probably leaned out just a little bit, just to be healthy. But at the time, Justin was a swole monster, and I shook his hand. And when there was a podcast, I think Bill Burr did it with Jim Gaffigan, and he was like, you got like fence building hands. Like you got hands that you work on a farm, and they're just like thicker and twice as big as any other person.
Scott Stevenson is the I do have like wide hands, I know, and that is true because I was like, I think it was one with my kids. They wanted to see if I was a bodybuilder, and they somehow searched Justin Harris bodybuilding, and they found a site, some gay site about my hands. Yeah. But Scott Stevenson's hands are enormous too. Like I couldn't shake his hand. He shook mine because mine never got wrapped around. I couldn't wrap my finger. I didn't reach the point to where the fingers could wrap around.
Yeah.
It was just straight hand, It's like when you shake a toddler's hand.
Yeah. I remember when I met and started training with Steve Goggins too. And I remember I was like, man, I want like big giant hands and stuff. And then he showed me his hands, and he's like, no, you got to have them like longer and leaner, so it helps with your deadlift.
For sure.
Otherwise, every time you put on, or every time you get a little bit bigger, your hands get thicker. It's almost as if you're adding a pair of gloves trying to grip onto the bar, and just you see super heavyweight guys, and they're like, oh, how did that super heavyweight guy who just squatted 1,000 drop an 805, 804 deadlift? It's like because he can't grip it.
Well, that's why people always comment on my forearms. I've never trained forearms in my life, but the reason is anytime I do anything, because I could never do a hook grip.
Yeah, I can't either.
And when I deadlift, I have to deadlift with my like I have to put the bar here.
Yeah, you push like the palm into it.
Yeah, I can't do it like
that's what I did.
Doing your fingers. I can't. They don't wrap around enough. I got to do it there and like. But my forearms get so pumped from doing anything, and then like my thumb muscle, like if I'm doing any like we just built a desk for my daughter, put together a desk. These muscles, man, I'm sorry, I keep bumping that. We're so sore.
Justin definitely has sausage fingers for sure.
But yeah, because I can't touch my thumb to my pinky, and so trying to hold like a little screw or something. But yeah, but that's like it was good for my forearms, because anytime I did any movement holding the bar, my forearms got so pumped, and they still do. Yeah.
See, I got more. What do they call like piano fingers? Were they like
penis fingers? I mean,
penis
fingers.
You know. Yeah. No,
I bought a piano after the last podcast where we talked about me playing the piano, because I hadn't had one in a while.
I want to learn also. You have to shoot, I'm gonna play when I come over.
All right. Well, we'll probably cut an album. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hashtag an album party.
Yeah. But guys, that's about it for another episode. Just want to thank once again. I'm sure no one made it this far, but once again, make sure you guys check out firstdetachment.com and also Justin's special sponsor. But yeah, we just released the new, or it is coming out. I'm sorry, not out yet, but our new and improved Hit the Rack formula, which will help you get a deeper sleep. And if you sign up for our VIP list, you will get 15% off your first order. Plus, we got other sales going on all the time. So check it out. Let us know what you guys think. Hit us up in the comments. Like always,
$9.99 shipping. We had complaints about our shipping, and we could not get our shipping costs down, and we'd been working for months, and finally we just said, screw it, we'll eat the cost. We're losing more money than I wanted to say on every order now, but we're doing $9.99 shipping for all orders. It's so if you can order order a very heavy order that would have normally been $40 shipping, and now we're eating the $30. And so there's been a couple orders that people have literally gotten a product for free from the drop in shipping at this point, but only to the continental United States, not Alaska or Puerto Rico or Hawaii or obviously Europe, but continental United States, $9.99 shipping on all orders. So load up.
Check it out, guys, and just let us know what you think. And until next time, Justin Harris and myself, we'll see you later.